Welcome back to Homeschool Together. I hope you guys are having a great space journey, and a lot of you guys are following along. We're watching you guys view, and you're leaving comments. Thank you for that. We love seeing the messages, and we love hearing what you guys are doing, so feel free to do that below.
And I love how our summer of science is now fall of science.
Fall of science.
Our summer slipped away from us a little bit, but we are still dedicated, and we are going to finish this before Thanksgiving.
This train does not stop. Last week we were in Mercury and Venus. Now we're back to Earth. We decided to prune Earth from the list because we've kind of already covered that, as Ariel said last week. This time we're just going to focus on the ISS and the moon, and then we'll head off to Mars next week. New little book about the International Space Station.
So we have a couple of nonfictions here. This is a true book. So this is a little bit more, it's going to be an upper elementary book, so it's all nonfiction, but it's got some great real pictures.
The space travel book, which we have pointed out before and mentioned,
Yes.
has more content in here for the ISS. So if you end up getting this, it's kind of like a little mini spine along the way. Know that there's some ISS content in here as well.
Yeah, for that DK find out.
And then kid scientists, astronauts on the space station.
So this book is the best one on the International Space Station. If you only want to get one, go for this one. It's great. It's about a group of kids that travel to the ISS, and it's all about their experience there. So it's really well done. It covers all the key points. It was very engaging. If your library has this one, absolutely get this one. It's the best one to cover.
And we have a lot of media recommendations and a lot of other things, but we don't want to lose out on the fact that there is an absolute ocean of ISS information, videos, everything you'd ever want is on YouTube here. They really connect with students a lot, produce a lot of content. So
right, they read stories to kids.
Absolutely. So if you want to see a lot of information about the ISS, it is out there in digital form, in person. I would highly recommend you doing that. We focused more on the moon this week, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, we did look at where the ISS was. So we looked online at a tracker for where the ISS was, and then it circles every 90 minutes, I think.
Yep.
So we didn't have clear skies when we were studying to go out and look and try to find the ISS. But if you can, I just think that's such a great way to go.
And if it's going right above and you got a nice clear sky, you should be able to see it.
Do we want to talk about while we're
we'll
talking about
get to it.
ISS?
It's a very, very delicate.
Oh,
we'll come
can
back.
talk about
All right. Okay. So.
Okay.
We have the Lego ISS system.
This was actually my Christmas present from Matthew, 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
Guys, I go hard at Christmas for this.
I don't know.
She's really nice. I like her.
So we brought it out for the kids to do.
It's got a couple little pieces. First of all, little probes, little craft, a little piece, I think. Yeah.
That broke off.
Off.
We're going to acknowledge
the fact that everything you're about to see was built by a 6-year-old.
It was built by a 6-year-old. We're also going to acknowledge that it's incorrect.
And it's upside down. No.
So the actual habitat module should be
flipped and underneath.
Right. It's supposed to be underneath, but this broke when we were clearing it off the table, so it's not exactly correct. But yes, our 6-year-old put this together.
Took her a while.
It took her a while.
But she was very terrible. Yeah.
But anyway, this went really well. So what we did before or as we were putting this together, there is a great YouTube channel. I want to say it's Jared Owens. It's the one that he does all the 3D renderings.
I believe we've recommended this before when we talked about the SpaceX capsule, the Dragon capsule. I'll put the link of his ISS video in there for this.
So there's 2 videos. So the first one that we watched with my girls was the older video. It's all about the different parts. So as we were building these different modules, we actually knew that's the American section, the Russian section, and here's the collar that connects the different sections together and all that stuff. So he had a really great video about all the different parts first. And then the second video that he came out with not that long ago actually talked about how they built it, and it covered, I think, 4 of the main missions where the space shuttle brought pieces of the ISS up and how they assembled in space. So I think those 2 videos together are great, and if you can manage to get a hold of the Lego set, this was a very fun project. So it took us all week to do, and with those videos and these books, I think we got great coverage on the ISS.
It was great coverage on the ISS. First one,
Moon. Yes, so we talked about these Stacey McAnulty books. Yep. And they're great. These are really good.
We talked about the sun one a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, these are great for lower elementary, so definitely get these if your library has them.
Now is a great time. Ariel had mentioned before, you can either read the Hidden Figures book.
We did it originally when we talked about astronauts.
But now's a good time if you hadn't done it before and you want to do it again. You can not only read the book, but watch the movie. It's a great time. Talk
Right.
about the moon, the race to the moon, the journey to the moon. This is a good book and a good movie to pair with it.
Yeah, so if you didn't do it earlier, now's a good time.
Level 2, what is the moon like?
So this whole series of Let's Read and Find Out Science is really great. It's super good, just nonfiction based, but done in a really engaging way for kids. So if you can get a hold of these books, they're awesome.
Absolutely.
We have a ton of moon books. So
If you decide to go to the moon.
This is more for early elementary. So if you've got a kinder you're actually doing this with, it's done in a really playful way. I think it's, well, maybe not kinder, maybe a little, but still an earlier elementary kid.
Yeah.
Because it's done more in a more fanciful way.
Absolutely.
If you were going to go to the moon, it's not as much on the factual like the Read and Find Out Sciences.
For those of you who've been around, you already know eyewitness books are our jam.
So you want lots of real pictures of all of the...
The museum in a book.
Yes, the museum in the book. So this is going to be the spacesuits and the crafts and all of the different parts and pieces that helped us get to the moon. Then your eyewitness book and your library should have this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Chang'e on the moon. So we will talk a little bit on our movie recommendation.
Right,
but
so this is the moon goddess. So she was her husband Hoi, the hunter, and they ended up getting separated and she had to go and live on the moon, and then she pined for him. So we read this book because I knew that we wanted to watch Over the Moon on Netflix, which is one of our favorite movies. We watch it every time we study China, and I don't know, the girls watch it a couple times a year anyway because it's so good.
Music's wonderful.
The music's wonderful. This version of the myth is great. Both of my girls loved it. The artwork is fantastic. So if you plan to watch Over the Moon as one of your movies for studying the moon, I definitely recommend getting this book before you watch it. Because I think this is the first time we actually read the myth first before watching the movie, and it definitely added to the depth.
From ancient myths to the colonies of tomorrow, the moon in illustrated history.
This is an adult book. So this is one that's more...
Was there violence?
No, or maybe it could be a high schooler. But basically, it's all the different parts and pieces about the moon, and they're all done in engaging just one-page sections. So if there's something that you're interested in learning about going to the moon or colonizing the moon someday or whatever, you can read it in this book because everything is really short, but this is all written at an adult level. So it's not for kids. But we just wanted to show it to you in case there's something that you want to do more research on the moon. This is a good book for you.
Gail Gibbons, The Moon Book.
Here's another great kids book. Our kids didn't like this one as much as the Let's Read and Find Out Science, but it was still a good book. So if your library's got it,
Just an informational,
it's a fine option.
Absolutely.
So that's all the books for the kids, I
We
think.
did a little bit of artwork with my youngest. We did the phases of the moon. Actually, kind of funny, we were doing our workbook, our Evan Moore workbook for science book, and we were covering the phases of the moon while we were studying the moon. So it actually was a nice double thing there.
And you could definitely do the Oreos if you want to do that.
Absolutely.
We were hesitant to bring a whole package of Oreos into our house.
We don't need that evil in our house.
Right. But the Oreo phases of the moon is that's the best version of that project. So
a movie starring Sam Rockwell, and Sam Rockwell, Moon.
So this was our adult pick. We watched this. We just finished it last night or the night before. Anyway, really good. Great. About a guy working on the moon who's mining, what is it, helium-3?
Helium-3.
Right. So really good movie, not for kids at all. But we really enjoyed that. And then with the kids, we said we watched Over the Moon. We also watched Crater, which was
such a good movie.
Such a good movie. If you can only watch one movie about the moon, if you have a really little kid, like you're doing this with your kindergartner or first grader, I'd watch Over the Moon. If you're doing this with any other level of elementary, I would watch Crater. Yeah. It's such a good movie. It was on Disney for like a minute, and then there was like contractual issues. It's now on Amazon Prime. Thank goodness. I thought it was going to be like lost to the world. Yeah. But it's a story about a group of kids who live on the moon under a habitat, and they venture out into the lunar landscape.
To go do something.
But it's a story about friendship. It's got kind of some bittersweet notes.
Yeah.
The story is really top notch, and it shows all kinds of landscapes of the moon. And I thought it was excellent. It kept my attention the whole time. So really, really good family movie. And then there's a lot of other media on the moon. We didn't watch anything else ourselves this week, but we talked about From the Earth to the Moon a couple weeks ago.
You could obviously watch Apollo 13.
Apollo 13. Netflix has a great documentary called Apollo 11, if you wanted to, get more of the documentary vibe.
If you want the horror movie B-flick, Apollo 18.
You could do that. There's a new movie on Apple TV Plus. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek comedy called Fly Me to the Moon. So that's another option that you could watch. We didn't get to see First Man Now, but we watched it last year.
We watched it last year. It's a tremendous movie. Really good.
Really good. Ryan Gosling, and all about the journey, Neil Armstrong. So it's all about Neil Armstrong.
Or you could read 2001: Space Odyssey.
And fall asleep.
During
the movie, as I always do.
Yeah, and then you can watch Kubrick's version of it and see a lot of moon stuff and moon-related space stuff before they head out to go find the monoliths. So that's another opportunity.
I think it's really funny that when he brought this book in here, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we should talk about this book and this movie as moon-related." And the problem is, I have fallen asleep every time we've watched the movie, so I actually had no idea that it was related to the moon. I was like, "Why is?"
They found the first monolith on the moon. That was the whole thing.
I remember the apes, and some point when the apes and the monolith are still on Earth, right at the very beginning, I fall asleep. So I had no idea that the moon was involved. So I learned something today.
Some people desperately want to understand cultural understanding of movies like 2001: The Space Odyssey. Same thing happened with
some people don't.
With Interstellar. Like, it could be a little complicated. Nolan's movie there. I have the novelization of Interstellar, and I thought the novelization is a nice pairing with the movie because it really helps explain a lot of things. Same thing here. If you're watching the Kubrick movie and you're like, why is there a baby above the earth at the end of the movie? Well, what is all very strange? What's going on? Read the book and then watch the movie, and you get a really deep understanding of what Clark did here. Clark has I think there's 4 or 5 books in this series. 2001, and then there's 2010, which is the movie in the 80s with Rob Schneider, I think, in it, and everything. And that's a tremendous movie as well. Both of those are good. The rest of the books in this series are not good. But this is a masterpiece, absolutely a work of art. One of my favorite books. There's a chapter in here when they were skirting the edge of, I think, Saturn, and I've read that chapter 1,000 times. So unbelievable story. I love it. It's very quick read. If you have a little bit of an older student, it's about 220 pages. Really quick read. Highly recommend it. It's this one's up on Mr. Matt's shelf.
So for
books.
A little bit more of a fast-moving one, Artemis by Andy Weir is really fun, and it's about a girl who lives on, she's a woman who lives on a moon colony, and she's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit of underworld kind of stuff, and it's really good. So that's a really excellent one. Also, for the last couple of months, I have been reading to our daughter The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, which has been very good.
What's the first one called?
The first one's called Cinder. So basically they're fairy tales. It's going to be Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and then Snow White. But it's all set in a futuristic world where there are robot cyborgs.
And it's a twist on the story too.
Yeah,
right?
and basically the evil queen lives on the moon. So there's lunars and earthens. The stories are, I would say the books are a little bit long in terms of, it's taking us a couple months to read through the books because they are quite lengthy. Be a great audiobook though. So if you have a girl, our daughter's almost 10, she's obsessed. We're in the 3rd book right now. So it's been awesome. And there's a whole lunar society and all that stuff.
That's cool.
She's been absolutely loving it. So if you've got a kiddo who really loves audiobooks, you might check out The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer as a fun thing to do. I mean, not just for this week, but obviously they're long. So, and there's 4 books in the series. So, you could do it the whole time you study space science if you have a girl of that age who is interested in that kind of stuff. So
we're going to forge on deeper into the solar system. Piggybacking on the Andy Weir recommendation, we are heading to Mars. We'll be reading The Martian, watching The Martian, and eating all the potatoes and all the enjoyable things, and we'll be talking about our sister planet there, the big red one in the sky we see every night. So see you guys next week.